go over some of the strategy. So the strategy, like I said, is support, resistance, breaking levels of higher low support and breaking levels of lower high resistance. With that being said, you could see here we're on the 5 minute time frame. All you really need is the 5 minute time frame. Yeah, you can kind of look around, but for me, you can notice everything on the 5 minute time frame. I have these Lux Algo higher highs and lower lows. It points out the live lower highs, lower lows, lows, highs, points out every swing live when it happens. It's just a little way to kind of enter on things a little bit easier. If you're waiting for a lower high, you boom, wait for that, then you wait for the confirmations that the lower high is done, and then you enter. So it's a little bit easier. But you could see here from what time is this? Yesterday, or no, this morning. Today's Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. Dang. From last night, this morning ish, 12:55, we could see that we were just heavy coming down, right? Heavy coming down. And I think low key this whole time we've been pretty heavy coming down. So we continued with that. So what we are looking for is breaks. The first thing we're going to do, we are going to point out our lower high resistance levels. So we're going to zoom out a little bit. Let's say we got in, we'll bring this back. Let's say we got in here. Now this is a like 1 a.m. type trade. I was up at like 8 a.m. So that's why my trade was further down. But we can break this whole thing down and then we can get into my trade. So you're gonna open your chart. Let's say you're here, boom. The first thing you're gonna do is find a lower high resistance level. Now you're gonna say, well, what about all these lower highs? Aren't those resistance levels? Technically, yes, they were until they were broken. So what you're trying to find is a lower high that has like a real resistance level. Even if it's been broken, you just want something that shows you where it is. So like here, here's a lower high. It's kind of with this high, but this would count as a resistance level. Then you're going to try to find a higher low support level. So let's change this color right quick. And you're going to try to find a higher low support level. So let's find a recent one, and boom, you see here, this was a recent higher low support level. So we're here. So that means we are looking for, currently, this is your resistance. Let me take that back. So erase everything that you just heard. All right, let's skip all that. Let's get into this. Yo, what's going on? So, today we're going to be talking about support and resistance, preferably specifically lower high resistance and higher low supports. My strategy consists of just breaking through those supports, and it's simple. It's so simple that I actually doubt it sometimes because I'm like, there's no way it's that easy. Um, so in doing that, I've taken a couple losses, which is normal. You're gonna take losses. Every time you try a strategy, you're gonna take losses. But the thing is, the reason you can find out if a strategy is profitable or works well is if those losses are literally not your fault. If those losses have nothing to do with you and you did everything right, those losses are losses. You got to take your losses like your wins. Um, but the only difference is your losses, you want to think of them as lessons. So wins are wins, but losses are lessons. So that's the way you think about it when you lose. So if you're going to try the strategy out, just be aware that you might lose. But I promise you, once you start getting the hang of it, it's so simple. So first things first, you're going to open up your chart. You're going to come to your chart. Oh, and this yellow box down here is because I got in a trade today, but it was way later. So this yellow box is the trade. We can even delete this, but that's why that was there. So you're gonna open your chart. You're gonna find a resistance and support level. Your support level is going to be preferably a higher low. If not, you're gonna try to find something, maybe a lower low that is recent and in the vicinity. So then your resistance level is going to be a lower high, a higher high, something where price has not broken through that point. So if we open this chart, we see that we have a resistance level here at this lower high. Yes, but price has already broke past that. So in order to make the next move, you have to find a new resistance level. And that new resistance level is this high. So, and if you're wondering, because TradingView does not give you these black and gray lines or these letters of LH or HH or highs, like, so these are the um, indications that I'm using. I'm using Lux Algo, higher high, lower low, live. So every time there is a swing, it tells me the move that has been made so I don't have to guess. I mean, if you're that good at guessing, go for it, but I'd rather for sure know what is going on. And then we have support and resistance levels with breaks. That again is kind of just to show me where support and resistance is. If I were to not use that, I'd probably still be okay. But again, I want to know, and why am I going to go against something that is literally correct? Makes no sense. I'm not trying to prove it to myself. I will rely on you. So we have our high resistance. After that, you're gonna find your support. Like I said, your support depends on your where you are, what you've broken through. Preferably, you want to look for supports of lower lows and higher lows. Those are your supports that are going to be bouncing up if there's no break past that support. So we have our high resistance, higher low support, and now we're ready to go. We don't need to worry about these time frames. I have these time frames there just in case I'm a little questionable, but usually since you're making fast moves, you're just kind of looking at the 5 minute. And usually with that and these indications of the swing moves, you can usually tell what is going on. Like, but either way, you don't really need to know the bias. All you need to know is what happens when it crosses resistance or crosses support. So we marked our levels. Now we're just gonna play it out. Let's bring this down to a 5. We're gonna play it out. And we see here, if we stop or pause it, we created a higher low. Now, if you're here and you're like, oh, we created a higher low off the resistance, now we're gonna jump up and now I'm gonna buy, you're totally wrong, because that's not how it works. You need to follow these rules with this strategy and not jump the gun. If you create a higher low, one, you want to create a higher low above a previous lower high resistance level. So this higher low, for it to be worthy of me getting in a trade, it would have to be above this area, which if you just put your cursor right there, you see it's not. So I'm not interested in that. And two, I would have needed a cross up of resistance to make a higher high in order for me to feel comfortable getting in with a continuation bullish trend. If you cross resistance and you want to stay on a continuation bullish trend, look for a higher high. If you're crossing support and you're thinking of a continuation of a bearish trend, look for a lower low. It's literally just that simple. So we got a high, we got a higher low. I'm not comfortable with it. Let's keep playing it out. Still higher low, now a lower high. Now you can see the market has shifted from whatever this was, maybe a minor bullish trend, to now kind of not sure where they're at. Higher low to a lower high to a higher low to a lower high is literally consolidation. That's it. Don't get in during that time. So now with that, we're going to wait for the next move. Now we got a low, lower high to a low. You're going to jump the gun, be like, oh, we got a lower high, I'm going to sell right away. You might be right. You might not. I'm not doing that, and I'm not teaching that with this strategy. Now, we're creating a new resistance level above this high. So what are we going to do? Move this to that resistance level. So, like I said, for pull downs, we are looking for crosses of support. So yeah, we got a lower high. Woo, it's above the previous lower high. Woo, or below, sorry. So I'm waiting for a cross of support. I'm waiting for a cross of a higher, previous higher low or recent higher low support level. We have a resistance level very close, so be aware of that. But you're looking for a cross of support. Once you get a cross of support or resistance, then you are making the next move. So let's see, we got a low. We still didn't cross resistance. Now we crossed resistance with that low and another low. We crossed officially support. That is your first sign of a shift or possibly getting into a continuation move if you get a lower low automatically. So we got a low, boom, crossed support, boom. Now we're like, okay, I like this. I like this, right? What you're waiting for now is a retest. You're waiting for a lower high, okay? The only time you would get in for a continuation, which I'll show you later with the trade I took, is if you instantly break support and get a lower low. If you instantly break resistance and get a higher high, you're not past it by like a long time, that is a good time to get in for a continuation trade. If you get anything else other than those, a higher high breaking resistance or a lower low breaking support, you are waiting for a retest. And that is either a higher low if you break resistance or a lower high if you break support. It's that simple. So let's see, we got a low. Do we ever get a lower low? No, we got a lower high. You see that? We got a lower high. Now, the thing you are looking for next. So you got your break, you got your retest slash confirmation if you get it. Next thing you are looking for is once you get that retest, is it under a previous opposing swing? Does that make sense? So if you get a lower high, you are looking for that to be under a previous higher low. If you cross resistance and get a higher low, you are looking for that to be over a previous lower high. And I know that might be kind of confusing, but it's really simple. Look, you mark out your levels, right? You're waiting for a cross of something. Then you look back and you see, I got a higher low and I got a lower high. You can literally draw a line under that higher low, under the letters, sorry. And if that lower high is under that, that is good. That's sufficient. Then you are under the higher low, and that is your entry. So you're going to enter there. Actually, we don't need to put that on. So you're going to enter there. You would preferably want to enter once you get your lower high, but if not, that's cool. You want to enter here. And you want to bring your stop loss to the recent swing that you are crossing, which is a higher low. Going to bring your take profit, if you have it around, to a previous low. Or you can be kind of crazy and bring it to a lower low. But preferably you want to bring it to a previous low. Okay? And now we're just going to play it out. Let's see what happens. See that? Isn't that crazy? It's literally free. It's so free. So now let's talk about the trade I got into today. So I woke up early. I woke up late, not early. I wish I woke up early. I woke up late. I did my due diligence of finding my areas. I think I got in around here, right? So what I was looking for was my support and resistance areas. What do I have? I have a resistance area here. And I think actually I was like right here when I woke up. So I have a resistance area here. Why? Because it never got past that point. It's simple. It never got past there. It's resistance. And I have a support level. I'm trying to find a higher low support level, but I don't really have anything. Like if I put it here, it kind of wick down. You want it to be above that area. So let's make this actually green because that is our support level. So we don't want it there. So where else could we find a support level? If you can't find a support level, use the support that's given. We have a low support level here determined by the gray, and we have a lower low support level here determined by the gray. We also have a support level of this lower low because we never passed this point. So for me, I would choose the third. I would choose a point that is recent or like pretty current, you know, a couple candles back to me would be current. Back here would be recent. So I would pick it here because this is the point where we're trying to pass. If you know, you know that when a candle passes a lower low, like I said earlier, it's going to continue down. If it passes a higher high, it's going to continue up. Eventually, it's going to create a higher low or a lower high. So yes, it might technically go up for a second to come back down or go down for a second to come back up, but that's the nature of the beast. That's okay. You're looking for your entry. Deal with that when that happens. So we have our support here. We're waiting. So now we're gonna slow this down. We just broke past, well, not broke. We tested the previous support. You see? We have a wick passing it. Don't enter there. You're waiting for a actual breakthrough. Once you break through and you get a lower low of support, you can enter for a continuation. So that's a test. Still not entering. Still not entering because we're not below. Still not entering because we're not below. So you tell me when to enter. Now, if you could show this in a way where I took it, I actually got in on this trade once we officially passed here. Once I was like, okay, we passed these wicks, we passed this support, I'm gonna get in. So technically, you could get in right here. Cool. For the video, we'll be there. I just got in right when it passed these wicks. Excuse me. Stop loss above the previous candle that broke the support. Take profit. Do you have a previous low? Yeah, all the way back here ish. So we'll target one of those. It doesn't show the letters, but that's okay. So we're just going to target this lowest one. Okay, and now let's see what happens. Instantly. You see how crazy that was? And that's literally what happened with my trade. I entered here and instantly took profit. Now, if you want to sit there and hold the trade, that's on you. I wouldn't be greedy, but if you're that confident, go ahead, hold the trade. Take your partial profits out and just keep holding it until you feel like I shouldn't hold it anymore. Cool, do that. But for the sake of my funded account and passing this funded account, I just want to get in, get out. Maybe later, once I start getting these payouts, I'll hold the trade for till I feel good. But for that, that is that. So that is basically support and resistance breakthrough strategy, the one I am using. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you've seen that I have, these documents, and I was talking about how I have every four swings, and if this happens, that happens. Yeah, I still use that. What I'm trying to get into is just getting into something that is a little bit more simple. That still works. That strategy still works. So if you want the Google document, I can send it to you. But what I'm looking for is just something that is easy to see. Like, I don't want to really look at one, two, three, four, what can happen, what couldn't happen. Like, I don't want to think that far ahead. I just want to think, did we break something? Did we move past an area? Did we hit a key level? That's when it comes to trading, you literally just want to keep it simple. But getting to that point where you think things are simple comes from thinking things are complicated. So you have to have the most complicated things in the beginning of your trading, and it all has to be this way in order for you to figure out, wait, that's can I make that simpler? So, or more simple. So with my Google document strategy, if you want to call it that, I just literally scraped everything off of that and made it into one simple thing, which is a break of support or a break of resistance. And unless you get a higher high or a lower low after those points, then you're looking for a retest. That's literally it.